In the bottom left side, we have ourselves a red Terran player fighting for the Shopify Rebellion. His name, BYUN. And in the top right side, we do have ourselves a blue Protoss player fighting for the Dragon, the Phoenix, and all the gamers and gamerettes in the world, ZEST. That's how you say it, right? Gamerettes, when the female version of gamers. There's not that many like male and female versions of words in English, is there? Some words where you immediately assume that it's a male or a female, right? Like, for example, doctor. Normally, people immediately think about a man. Nurse, people think about a woman. But other than those weird associations that seem to have seeped into our brain overall, I don't think there's a lot of English words that really have a gender-specific role. Do we? Do they? I don't think so. Not sure if that means it's more equal there. I don't know, maybe. Probably not. Alright. So what are we doing here? What are these two boys up to? What are their plans? Second base for BYUN here after the barracks and the factory are coming along. Looks like he is just doing a pretty regular Terran build. And ZEST here doing a pretty regular Protoss build, right? Going for the Twilight Council. Would assume that is going to be a little bit of a blink play, knowing ZEST. ZEST does appreciate the blink play most of all. Don't really see him all that often messing about with like charge plays or adept plays, right? With the glaive attack. Not really his style. He may go for DTs as well, of course. That is another potential. But we're just going to keep our eyes peeled here. I'm still assuming it's going to be blink. Whenever you see ZEST, yeah. The assumptions were made and they turn out to be correct once again. Three adepts here though, to provide a little bit of pressure. Do manage to spot that command center also coming out, so that is a nice thing to see. Realizing that, well, he's not doing anything super crazy off of the one base. Although, probably would have already had to have something arrive at his base if there was something going on like that. I would say. Would still be nice for him to see, of course, the overall barracks numbers and such like that. Although I think he can kind of assume, right? He saw that was a tech lab on the factory. Maybe he doesn't quite know about the second barracks, right? It could still be a starport as well instead of that. So may not quite know the amount of bio that is coming his way. And already with Stimpack on the way as well, right? Could still be imagining... well, I don't know. But actually with the tech lab on the factory, right? Because we have the Cyclone. We just don't make the switch to Widowmines. I don't think you would all that often. Oh, Cyclone here gets the sentry. Goes in for a scout as well. ZEST thought he would try to run away with it. So sending his units further forwards. But that allowed the Cyclone to get a bit of an extra walk in between Protoss lane. And, well, gets a bit of a scout off. He doesn't really get that much. I suppose one... actually, no, he didn't even get a single probe kill there, did he? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's just the sentry. I mean, the sentry is good to take out. I mean, of all the units there, probably the sentry the best one to take out. Most gas expensive. He's going to have to replace that one for the Guardian Shield. Force field's incredibly powerful against the Terran Bio Ball, especially in the early parts of the game, of course. Trying to just rush up one ramp, hoping the Protoss doesn't see you. Just like the Wings of Liberty days. But this is going to be a little bit different. We do have the siege tanks here, and there are quite a good couple of areas where you could try to put those siege tanks, but let's see where BYUN decides to place them this time around. Gonna try to angle them from the side more inwards, or is he just gonna go straight ahead and place them right on, almost on top of that Nexus? Okay, yeah, it's just gonna go straight forward. This third base in a lot of trouble. Link has finished up, but with the 2 siege tanks down, the severe amount of Marines already just going ham with that stim pack available and 2 medevacs. Not much that ZEST can do to safeguard that third base. Has to try and do some damage of his own here with the War Prism. He is coming in with that War Prism, so there is a chance for him to get something done, but it's a rough one. Already some reinforcements there for BYUN. Starting to stockpile up and getting more and more intimidating as things keep going. Immortal also targeted down. Let's see how much these Marines will still be able to trade out. They're doing okay. I mean, overall, got a more valuable trade there, I would say. Finds a bit of dead space here in between the natural and the old used to be third base, or ZEST. Let's see what ZEST is up to. A couple of zealots. He knows he has to get something done here. Third base for BYUN is coming up. His reinforcements are moving out now as well, so this is the perfect opportunity for that War Prison. Is he gonna try to make use of it? Alright, apologies. A little sneeze all of a sudden. Okay. Well, medevac does manage to escape now because of the reinforcements coming in. More zealots. There we are. Finally, they do arrive into the mineral field line. Already getting 7 SCV kills here. That is quite something. 14 in total right now. The War Prism just going into the main base. More and more SCVs going down here. The forces of BYUN deciding to just pull the trigger and go for it. All the rest of ZEST's forces also all committed entirely to this base race right now. The buildings are flying upwards. It looks like BYUN a bit more careful with trying to go up that ramp here. I thought it would be, you know, a bit more beneficial trying to get up there a little bit sooner. I was afraid of sentries or something like that, kind of keeping BYUN away from this main base for a while. But that does not seem to be the case. The buildings of BYUN are floating around. They are going absolutely everywhere they can. Let's see, we do have a good portion of probes here by ZEST being saved. Has enough money for another Nexus. I mean, some people think the ZEST bank has no use at all, but situations like these, they definitely do prove otherwise. Quite an odd game here. BYUN a little bit behind on the army supply, but with the medevacs there and the siege tanks, if he gets a good siege up, I do believe that he will be able to take that fight. There's not that many strong units here for the Protoss available, and if those siege tanks get a good couple of volleys onto the Stalkers, and the Marines get, you know, to deny the surface area to the Zealots, that could be fantastic. At the same time, of course, those force fields, they could mess things up quite badly for BYUN as well. BYUN here trying to set up shop again with his forces, or well, his structures here, of course. Trying to just get something sorted here, get some more Marines out on the field. Anything really he can afford. This Nexus here is starting to be operational pretty soon. I like the fact that he's keeping all his probes together now as well. He knows it comes down to one big more fight, and if those probes are pulled as well, maybe that is just going to help out. I like the buildings for BYUN as well here. Kind of moving forwards, getting the War Prism, but the Zealots with a massive flank on the backside. The siege tanks immediately are surrounded. And it looks like BYUN getting a little bit caught off guard. Those siege tanks were not ready for this fight. And BYUN takes one hell of a loss right there. The buildings did not arrive in time. The siege tanks were not sieged up in time. And the overall bio positioning made it very difficult for him to micro backwards. And to try and stutter step himself back to safety. Kite those Zealots for as long as possible while the siege tanks are shooting him. Nothing like that really taking place here. So now a very awkward exchange. Couple of Marines here. They know they need to make something happen here. They know they need to get that. Oh my god, no, BYUN! Oh, I'm not sure why he was that distracted. Apparently a single adept here. Figuring out that there's some mining going on along this side. We don't have Zest actually aware that there's mining going on the top side as well. A bunker. Oh dear, that would have been amazing if we had a bunker here, but not just quite yet. This could be a bit gruesome here. The bio for BYUN also is gonna try to make something happen here, but that's just too much, Protoss. GG is called. In the top right side, we have ourselves a blue Protoss player. Fighting for the Dragon Phoenix Gamers. Zest. A handsome young man indeed. And also, in the bottom left side, we do have ourselves a red Terran player fighting for the Shopify Rebellion. One of the newer teams on that block, but man, do they pack a punch. BYUN. One of the main reasons why the Shopify Rebellion is, of course, such a monstrosity team. They do have some very interesting players overall, though. To be fair, Lambo, Scarlet, if I'm not mistaken, there must be more as well. If I'm not, there might not be actually. I have no idea entirely what the roster is, but I know those three. There must be more, right? There must be more. I'm going crazy here. Is there more, or did they just get 3 players to play the Chinese Team League thing? And now they're just like, all right, well that was fun. Let's stop here. I have no idea. I have no idea. But you know what? If that is the case, then there's only more reason for the Chinese team leagues to continue. Right? Because we want to have more teams and more competition. A loose attempt to kind of get that command center slowed down here. Looks like he's doing rather efficiently, but the Marine should put an end to this, of course, if the Marine decides to stop having his vacation time. Okay. Good. He's coming back in again. He wants to get this SEV. He knows he wants it. He knows he earns it. He earned this SEV kill, BYUN. You failed to protect your SEVs, and now you have to pay the piper. Pay the Protoss. Pay the Protoss bright. It's sounding weird now. Alright, well, anyway. Zest not being able to get shit there, unfortunately, for him. What in the world is that probe doing? Wanted to take a single hit on that Marine. I believe that does cause a Adept to two-shot it, if I'm not mistaken. So that may be the idea there from Zest. Quite a brave move, and still gets that probe away as well. In comes the Adept right now. Knows. Does get that SEV kill. We knew he deserved it. And there we go. That is where it comes in to fruition, and gets himself that lovely delay. It's going to take a while before really BYUN feels comfortable to push down here, unless he takes like 3 SEVs with him, maybe. But even then, still with like 2 Adepts here now. Yeah, it should be okay. Zebedee, zep. Watch out for the Hellion, of course. You don't want to lose that Hellion. That is quite a shame if that happens. The Adepts don't commit into the main base. I think they would have done okay in the main base as well, right? He probably would have lost them because the supply depot would have been raised. And then the 3rd Adept will not be here, so I suppose with the 3 Adepts you'll be able to... Oh my god. He probably could have gotten inside of the base there. Right, with all of the army of BYUN just sitting on the front door supply depot. Get that Hellion. There we are. Jab. Ah, well. Ah, well. So where does that leave us? Where does that leave us? I mean, Zest here with a comfortable work account doesn't really have that much at home just yet to defend, but does have the 2 Stalkers. The 2 Stalkers, will they be enough against this medevac with Marines? It looks like they are, because they are being dropped one by one on top of them. And now we have a 3rd Stalker. No shield batteries yet on the way though, so it looks like Zest still feeling pretty comfortable here. It's not under the impression that he's going to get pushed into anytime soon. More siege tanks being made. War Prism there getting scattered out by the Raven, and so is the other way around, of course. The Raven getting scattered out by the War Prism. Both kind of awkwardly giving each other a glance and then quickly turning around the other way. Hoping the other had not seen it. Siege tank needs to get into position to blink. Ooh, the blink was a little bit far away, so the siege tank does still get one shot. I thought he would get two. The War Prism gets taken out. Great target fire there from BYUN. Very decisive, actually, to make that happen. Losing the Raven is a bit of a rough one. Will not be in a position to really remake that Raven. With his starports already, of course, ready to start building the medevacs instead with a reactor on the way. It's going to be a rough thing to replace. Probably won't be replacing it. That's why. The blink here without the War Prism, very difficult to take out those siege tanks onto the high ground as well, of course. Very limited in the way and the options he has right now to attack. Has another War Prism coming in, but you can see, I mean, this is now delayed so much. And there's no way for the Protoss without that high ground vision to threaten that other side. And that is always the biggest threat of those blink stalkers, of course. The Terran doesn't know which way you're going to go, and they're just going to go wherever you're not. Thanks to the high ground vision and such. And now we just have BYUN kind of comfortably holding on to the front door and not really taking any damage. May even have enough already where you can now kind of withhold both these areas overall. With a big enough force. So that's going to try to get some SCV damage here with that War Prism. Perfectly fine. Observer, very important to have as well. I mean, this is one of the parts where you're like, alright, well, if only we still had that Raven, huh? If only. Alright, well, regardless, let's take a look at ZEST Space. It's been a while since we've taken a peek over here. There's a robotics bay. Looks like that is working on the Colossi production with the extended thermal lance coming up as well. We're kind of waiting for the moment where BYUN decides to either move out or just take a third base on location. I don't think he's going to build it in his base anymore, but there we are. Yeah. Yep. He was... Okay, no, he's going to build it here in his base. Notice that War Prism is still lurking about. Ooh, a couple of stocks here in the middle of the map. Looks like they didn't get too many dead Terran bodies there, so... Valiant effort pushing into the third base of ZEST, but the third base this time around a lot better protected. Siege tanks though doing quite a bit of damage initially onto those Stalkers. Already getting like 3 volleys in total. Just has to be careful and mindful of that Colossi, of course. That singular Colossus right there, just waiting, holding on. 5 SCVs going down because of a bit of counter-attack damage with that War Prism. Everything now, though, for ZEST has been recalled back home. 4 siege tanks overall. Let's see if this will be enough to start forcing ZEST forwards. Looks like the shield battery overcharged already enough on its own. The siege tanks going forwards a little bit further will cause ZEST to take a worse and worse positioning with his army here. Alright, now this is the moment where he decides to go in. A second Colossi was on the way, but it's not there just yet. Taking a long time to really start dealing the damage here. And that's just too much Terran. That's just too much Terran. ZEST getting absolutely pummeled here. The siege tanks, every single one of them still stands. GG is called. The thrill of the chase. Oh, there's 2 of them now. 2 SCVs competing over the attention of the same probe. Always asking for trouble. And eventually what they just end up doing is wearing down the probe, and to the points where the probe just is utterly depressed and has to go home back to his parents or her parents. Quite a destructive relationship there. Barracks gonna try to grab himself a reactor play. Immediately, most likely, just going to go for a lot of Marines, which is kind of what we're used to from BYUN, so. And see, though, if he goes for the second base immediately, it looks like it. Or the third base, sorry, I mean. Third base will be coming into play. Well, Jolly G. Greepus. We do have a Stargate here. If I'm not mistaken, that is what they call a Stargate. And that was being built inside of it. Is what they call an oracle. A seer. Oracle is kind of a weird name for the Oracle in a sense. Well, I suppose in a way it's a great scouting tool, so. But then again, it doesn't really use. Well, maybe it does actually. Maybe it does use psychic powers in order to see those things. That's probably actually the reason why it's an Oracle, huh? Alright, well, figuring things out. Third base is going to get immediately scouted here. Only 4 Marines on this mineral line, so might take a while to get rid of the Oracle. And 5 Marines there, 2 Marines over here, and it's gone. Only 2 SCVs, never mind. BYUN having his Marines absolutely everywhere where he needed, and I don't know how exactly, but I mean, that Oracle flew in there completely free. And within a matter of seconds, it was entirely surrounded. Every which way that could be an exit suddenly was blocked off by the Marines. Very well played there by BYUN. A little bit fortunate as well, of course, having those Marines spawn kind of at that right time, allowing for the complete surround. Well, you know what? Luck is a skill as well. No, it's not a skill really. Well, people used to think it was a skill, right? People used to think that luck was something you're kind of genetically born with, in a sense, right? So if you have lucky parents, you're gonna be lucky too. Because luck isn't just something that kind of happens, right? It's not randomness. They didn't really believe in the randomness of the universe as we do. Everything is designed with a purpose, and it's done so by the gods. So, I mean, if somebody is lucky overall in one situation, right, they are bound to be lucky again, because obviously the gods favor this person. So yeah, it's like a genetic trait to be lucky. But well, back in the day it was. I don't think a lot of people would make that claim anymore. Although, be it, there are some people more lucky than others. Not saying that luck has no influence anymore, but probably not genetically influenced by anything. These are 3 oracles here. And those 3 oracles, they are coming in hard. As soon as those Marines kind of left the area. 7, 8 SCVs, might even get more. I would be disappointed if he doesn't go for 9. There we are, 9 SCVs, very well done. A little bit worried of any potential counterattacks here. Of course, we saw BYUN already do quite a big attack earlier on with the previous game. And then we had 2 Colossi, and that wasn't enough. Now, this time around, BYUN did go for a 3rd base, so of course that attack is going to be entirely different already anyway. Well, we're gonna have Oracles instead of Colossus for a while here, so potentially status traps or something of the likes of that are going to be incredibly important here for ZEST to hold this as efficiently as he potentially could. I'm still a little bit worried overall for BYUN as well, to be fair. He's spreading out those units quite heavily. They're all getting spotted. No status traps just quite yet anywhere, though, to be fair, so felt like that may be the biggest danger for the Terran army. Scanning ahead, seeing that there's, you know, there's a reasonable amount of stalkers. But with a good stim forward and some target fire, maybe. Maybe. I think he could make it work. BYUN, does he think he can make it work? That is the real question here. What is he up to? Coming in here, wants to take out the cyber core. And the gateway, I suppose, as well. I mean, that works. That will stop your opponent from making more of those units, right? A Stalker or a Depths. Oh boy, he's being pushed. Stalkers for ZEST no longer will take pity with these units. We'll just start shooting right ahead, and that is a big portion of the army of BYUN just absolutely demolished. Not a chance in hell that did anything good. Doesn't even get this gateway, guys, right? He didn't even want the gateway. He probably wanted the cyber core, but he didn't even get the gateway, which is the building that he accidentally targeted it. So, yeah. Tough times for BYUN here. Let's see, let's take another look at this, shall we? I mean, this does tell everything, doesn't it? I suppose the gas count here a little bit in favor for BYUN, but that's by such a small margin in comparison to those minerals that I'm not even sure if this is still a fight we're watching. We may just be watching an execution from this moment onwards, with ZEST just continuously maintaining that worker lead throughout this game, getting massive damage dealt with those 3 oracles that are still floating around as well, at least 2 of them. Looks like he lost 2 other ones, so he made 4 oracles actually in total, not just the 3. Crazy. Who was this? More Terran coming out to play. We do have Widow Mines this time around, so maybe a bit more extra burst damage for the Terran army could do well. No status traps anywhere once again, but those Stalkers rotating quick. Alright, 4th base for the Protoss player here, under a bit of stress. I'm gonna try to force the Protoss army to push down this ramp here and chase him into the opposite direction, with those Widow Mines, of course, being a present danger. Alright, BYUN maintaining a foothold here on 2 locations. There's not that many Widow Mines, actually. There's only 2 of them here. I thought there would be more. Maybe he already lost a couple of them. 3 of them already going down. I didn't see a single one of them go off, though. We also have 9 probes going down. I believe that was over here. A couple of probes getting targeted. Yeah, I don't see this work for BYUN anymore. I just don't see this push, at least, work for BYUN. Maybe we're gonna get something else here. Ooh, a couple of high Templars. Those are good picks. Those are definitely good picks. He's pushing in forwards. He's actually getting some damage done here. He's trading okay. Just needs to be careful for the ball of Zealots not to lose too many of his precious Marines and Marauders due to those guys. And oh my god, is BYUN doing it. What in the world did I just watch? Remember, this was like 5 times in favor for ZEST not that long ago, before that fight. And now, all of a sudden, BYUN not just only more than half, or less than half of the gas lost count. Actually, that's less than 3 times, isn't it? Somewhere around that ballpark, I'm pretty sure. 21, yeah, that is less than 3 times. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Well, anyway, things are looking a bit scary now for ZEST all of a sudden. He decided to go for the Storm, but the Storm hasn't really made that much of a dent, with the army of BYUN just mainly consisting out of Marauders here in the frontal ball, sending his Marines in medevacs on a mission to try and interfere with the mining on the 4th base. Doing a pretty good job so far. Those high Templars there, of course. Still a little bit of Storm available in those guys, but not sure if this is a fight he wants to take. Right here, right now, right, he's going to go for it. BYUN, of course, with gazillion medevacs, is going to be able to just jump away. Although those Blink Stalkers, this could be trouble still. Reinforcements has to come in quick here for BYUN. There's still a long wave of reinforcements coming in, but it's taking a long time for them to get there. Was it still in time? Was it still enough? Taking out a Immortal there, just barely actually doesn't. And now suddenly ZEST here with a overwhelming force. Do we just keep going back and forth between these 2 here? It's almost like a ZVZ kind of atmosphere, honestly, where both players just keep doing damage to one another, almost dying and then pushing across the map, almost killing their opponents, and then just going back and forth in that sense. Alright. Here's the fight. It's the one. Oh, good dodge on that Widowmine. That's already one set off right now. 4 more remaining behind us. Actually, make that 5. Will that be enough? There's a lot of zealots there, but it looks like BYUN will have to face the Starkers first. Together with the Storm. We cannot afford to have those Widowmines be set off preemptively. But at the same time, looking at the base count here for BYUN, I would imagine he's going to be able to stabilize here. Especially since we do not have any disruptors, no Colossi. It is just the Storm upgrade, and we do have those Ghosts coming out. So I would believe that this is going to be salvageable for our Terran player. But, and again, wrong calls have been made by more casters than me. And ZEST is still looking pretty happy with his location here. Alright, this is the moment. He's coming in. Those Widow Mines, they are not doing as much as I would hope. SCVs are going to have to be pulled away. The Bio Forces for BYUN are taking quite a bit of a beating on the top side, but the SCVs are tanking a lot of damage as well from those Zealots. More and more Zealots are coming in, though. We have a Planetary Fortress ready to try and help out this situation here at the 4th base, but the 3rd base, of course, only a lowly orbital. That is going to get taken out quite easily. And now the Zealots running forwards into the natural base. It looks like we do have ZEST kind of coming in here for the final stretch. We'll be able to take an enormous amount of SCVs down with him. As this army, it may get cleaned up just barely. But then again, there's another Warp in coming in. That Warp Prism never been taken out. And this is probably going to be the point of GG here. I would imagine. Even BYUN knows that this is no longer salvageable. He likes to try, he likes to do his best, but there we are. GG is called, and ZEST takes back the reins of the series. Alright, back on the playing fields. The red Terran player from Shopify Rebellion is BYUN. Top left side, the blue Protoss player. Fighting for the Dragon Phoenix Gamers. He is ZEST. Alright. Imagine if that's where the end of the caster's job is, right? That you just do the introduction and then you just kind of sit there. Sometimes you hear him sniffle or make a little cough sound or something like that. That's pretty much it. That's all they do. The rest of it is just bonus, really. Just some extra fluff around the broadcast that you get. A lot of people ask us to, you know, us casters to stop doing it as well. Takes away from the overall gameplay experience. I'm just making up weird stuff all over the place today. I don't know what it is. I think I'm a pathological liar sometimes, guys. But then again, I'm not such a pathological liar that I don't mind just saying, yep, I was lying. Usually it's just nonsense as well. Like, I'm from America, or I'm from Russia. Hey guys, I'm somewhere in between the Czech Republic and the Titanic right now. My grandparents used to be Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. Right, yeah, we'll stop. What is that? What's going on here? We have 3 barracks play for BYUN. That's a cool one. I always love the triple Rex play. Gives you a bit of aggression coming out right off the bat. Have a lot of those Marines ready. What are we getting from ZEST? ZEST is going for Stargate over here. We'll be adding that in once more. Oracles might have a rough time against a larger number of Marines, though, of course. Especially with the stim pack already set up. We'll keep our eye out on that one. Now, that is going to play out. No, I've never been asked to stop casting before, actually. Like, I've had a hate mail. I've had a singular hate mail at one point in time. I've had some hate comments on the YouTube as well. Mostly because I was saying Leia instead of Leia. People hate that stuff, man. Horrible. Horrible. But you know what? We read it, we fix it, and we move onwards. And we make it worse. We make it worse as we go along. And then people realize, you know what, that wasn't that bad actually, the stuff he was doing before. Better than whatever bogus he's coming up with right now. Engineering bay. Well, that's not going to get completed. You need that one to make a missile turret. And the missile turret would be nice to be able to defend against that Oracle here. But, you know what? Oracle already out of energy. Anyway, just kind of sitting there. He realizes there is a Terran ball coming across the map, though, of course, as there was nothing coming to defend against that Oracle. To try and take it out. Here we are. There's that big ball of bio. There is the stim is going to finish up here. The target fire should be pretty strong. Is going to try to get away from the shield battery overcharge. He's okay with not fighting the army immediately. We'll be able to do another stim if that means he will not have to do the shield battery fight. But it looks like that is just a little bit too rough. That Oracle DPS, it is a ton, isn't it? Just doesn't have enough of his own units to really make it happen. But let's take a look at the units lost tab here. You know what? Overall, I'm not quite sure if that was worth it for BYUN. But I'm sure we'll have another follow-up attack. Not in the too far distant future. And ZEST, I mean, right now, after that first initial attack, he's more so focused on getting his upgrades going, right? Getting his tech as you need to as a Protoss. That does mean there might be another opportunity here for BYUN to come across with another ball of bio and make it work this time. There's a small chance. Even adding in the Robo now as well. He's getting more shield batteries. And there we go. There's more reinforcements now. The Oracle on the other side of the map again starting to get a good amount of SCV kills here. But, I mean, that is all his energy gone once more. The bio forces here in the middle of the map looking to intercept that Oracle. Really interesting. Or are they just trying to make a move around so they do not have to go up the ramp over here or over here and they'll already be on the high ground? Nope, they are just trying to find that Oracle. Alright, well. Something. Not sure if that's helping him out at this moment in time. I really thought, you know, that would be the moment for him if he doesn't make something happen right then and there. On the other side, it's going to be a rough battle because ZEST is just kind of running away with the advantage right now of having 62 workers versus 45, right? 10 workers in total having been taken out. It's not an easy number to deal with losing. 2 medevacts into the main base. There's a reasonable amount of Stalkers here, but with the medevacts and target fire onto the Stalkers, it looks like BYUN will be able to clean those up, and that's a good trade overall. Now going to get himself on top of the shield battery, gets the cannon as well. Another Stalker goes down, more Stalkers coming in as reinforcements though, and that is going to be the end sign. The referee will use the whistle and call the end of that harassment in a sense, but I think that's a really good trade for BYUN, and those types of moves are going to get him back into a good position. Just trading favorably against those Blink Stalkers. A great way here. We have ZEST still trying to just warp in more and more Stalkers. He's still kind of stuck. He doesn't have a tech structure available just quite yet, which allows him to get Colossi or Storm, Archons, anything of the sorts really to start doing that splash damage. Which means the longer that BYUN keeps ZEST on these Stalkers, I feel like the better it's going to be for him. Oh, there's no blink underneath the medevacs either. ZEST not at full attention at that moment in time, and the medevacs will be able to unload. ZEST a little bit scared now actually to fight the bio ball as he knows he's losing Stalkers a little bit too rapidly. Wouldn't mind trying to get into the ground here as well. The entirety of the Protoss force still strong enough, though, clearly to beat back the drop play with quite a bit of efficiency. But again, well, actually, that trade didn't go as well for BYUN this time around. ZEST not as reckless with his Stalkers this time. Did send the reinforcements a lot sooner. Main base, once again exposed. There is another observer, though, luckily for ZEST here. He should be able to fully blink underneath this, and there we go. We'll be able to catch 1, 2. And a good amount of units that did get dropped, so... yeah, wonderful stuff. Actually, coming in for the full surround here. Stalks absolutely everywhere. Is BYUN losing his forces a little bit too quickly once more? Blink. Oh, yeah, there we go. Nicely done there by ZEST. Let's take another look at that resources lost count. And that is a good way to kind of keep track of the progress here. What do we have for the resources income? Yeah, definitely in ZEST's favor after all those worker kills. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. He's just going for it again here. Storm is coming in, but it's not done yet. Might be another opportunity here. Army supply looking good for BYUN, but there are shield batteries, there's cannons. And a couple of, a good amount of force fields here as well. Okay, good pick up there with one of the medevacs. We'll be able to save quite a couple of those units from assured destruction. Does BYUN realize there's a base being built there? Yes, he does. Notice he has some leverage here. Might be able to make ZEST push into him instead of the other way around. Which would be nice considering all that static defense that is set up there for ZEST, of course. Alright, coming in again, that War Prism right there. A little bit exposed for the right hand flank, so a couple of those High Templar go down, and the War Prism also. Wintermine finds the final shot required and takes it out. The bio forces here for BYUN, they need to heal up as much as possible before trying to take another fight. We do have the Protoss army, though, already moving in. Coming forward to try and break everything down here. 2 Liberators helping out a ton against those Zealots. They're now trying to hold their own against the Stalkers. The Stalkers a little bit too good at shooting units in the air, though. Bio forces for BYUN, they need to get on top of those High Templar. Those High Templar will have Storm very, very quickly. It looks like he did catch a glimpse of them. So that's a big deal. The shield battery overcharge, though, making it impossible for him to snipe them. And there's the Storm coming up right now. BYUN in a world of trouble. Needs to get as many of these probes here as possible before he just gets out. And he needs to get out with as much as possible as well. Ooh. Was that enough? The worker count looking okay, but with the 3rd base gone, the main base is going to have to be flown across. Mining not looking all too sharp here for either of these players. And army supply still somewhat similar. Still, I want to give advantage to ZEST, since he does have those High Templar, and we do not have any kind of Ghost or Liberator attack or anything of that sort here for BYUN available. So yeah, ZEST a little bit further along the tech tree. And will be coming in here. Surprise, surprise, BYUN nowhere to be found in his own base. The natural completely exposed. And now the forces of BYUN are going to have to fight uphill here. I think that is the final moment. GG is called. Another game goes into ZEST's favor. On the top left side, we do have ourselves a blue Protoss. Fighting for the Dragon, the Phoenix, and the Gamers. He is ZEST. Bottom right side, we have somebody being a little bit sneaky. It's the red Terran player for Shopify Rebellion, BYUN. Struggling to beat his opponent, so he's gonna try to do something, something he hasn't tried just quite yet in this series, at least. Which will be the proxy 2 racks, if I'm not mistaken. No gas quite yet being taken. Could be an interesting one. Very often if you do see proxy racks against the Protoss, quite often it means the Marauders are going to come into play. But here it looks like BYUN is just planning to do this with Marines. Marines and bunkers. ZEST will be coming across the map here though to get the scouts and is going to see that this is the case. There's the refinery now being built. But again, most likely we'll see a start off here with the Marines. ZEST figuring out that there is nothing in the main base of BYUN that needs to be there, at least except for the supply depot, the refinery, and the main base, and the SCVs. So it's going to immediately start off this game with a Zealot here. Having to be chronoed out. Let's see where we are going to start any type of bunker production, if that is what we're getting. I wouldn't mind having a bunker like over here. Yeah, there we go. That's a good place. That's pretty solid. ZEST still looking around in the opposing base, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. Already has his suspicions, of course, and now seeing the barracks, well, not the barracks, the bunker and the Marines here. Knows what is going on. And starting to put up some more pylons on his production facilities here. Smart plan, smart plan. Doesn't want to get supply blocked either, of course. Now, what's BYUN going to do with this, really? I mean, he has the bunker. He kind of has his opponent in a contain. Really. But is that where he's going to let it stay? May want to cancel those Marines that are still in production right now. Just fly away with those barracks. Or maybe just put the barracks on top of the bunker, right? Screw it. Just fly him over. Get the bunker to protect your production. Alright, 5 Marines here. Is that going to be enough here for Micro Jackson? 6 Marines versus the Zealot and the Stalker. I mean, it is Micro Jackson versus Micro Jackson of the Protoss race. 2 Micro Jacksons. Both the barracks flying back around. BYUN behind this going for the factory and the starport. Most likely is going to lose all these Marines here and the bunker. Wants to try and get a bit of a trade going, of course. Wants to get as many of these stocks as possible, but... Ooh, nice. Yeah, valiant effort there. Valiant effort indeed. Doesn't quite work, though, of course, but close enough. Close enough. I thought that was a cool little strategy, but I'm not quite sure if it worked out in the end. Oh yeah, I guess this second base is coming up sooner. He's ahead in the work account. The army supply is a little bit terrifying right now, but that's about it. That is about it. If BYUN doesn't take any damage, he's going to be in a good spot. But, I mean, looking at the Stalkers and the War Prism coming up. And then what we really have as defense here for BYUN. Although there is a War Prism anti-hit squad here, right? With the Cyclone and the Viking. If they get a good pick-off on that War Prism, that could just save the day here for BYUN. That is a big if. Those Stalkers, they are already kind of set up to try... Oh, God, the lock-on onto a Stalker there. It's as bad as it gets. Horrendous opening there. Well, not opening, but, yeah. Start with that one and immediately taps on out of there. Interested to see what BYUN will be doing this time around. We've kind of seen all his playstyles in a sense. The one game he won is one where he played almost the most normal of all of them, huh? Kind of makes sense that ZEST is a player that is doing really well against BYUN. I mean, BYUN kind of an innovator of the Terran race in a sense. He's coming up with a lot of new things, bringing in new tactics, and that are working really good. And it seems like ZEST is just a player that, well, we know he's incredibly smart. He's incredibly good at coming up with new ways for Protoss to play. And it seems like he's just been able to figure out how BYUN is playing here. And just counteract it, really. Just know what to do against it at what time. And make it work. I'm still surprised that we've seen an uprising in the High Templar tech overall in the earlier parts of the PvT game. I I realize that if you want to go for High Templar, usually the best way to do it is before there's Ghost out on the fields, right? You have a short window there where they're pretty darn good. But normally, I'm used to seeing these Terran players like BYUN and such just be so good at dodging those storms that the initial very early game investment into the storm just kind of hurts the Protoss more so than helps them. But that's not been the case at all. So it seems like more and more clear for the Protoss here how they are supposed to make that type of play work. And have enough gateway units with that type of army composition so you don't just get overwhelmed, right? The Storm is just a nice addition to do that AoE splash damage. You only need to land 1 or 2 really good ones to get yourself into that winning position in the fight. Right, Alien here, we'll be able to see the probe for the 3rd base coming out. Decides to leave. Can't blame him. ZEST is middle ground between stats and SOS. Yeah, I can get behind that. Kind of like his playstyle, right? He's quite creative still, but at the same time, he's also quite prone to just having that very setup, that macro setup. He's like a creative macro player, right? That's not afraid to throw in a cheese now and again. He's a champion in that sense, right? It's usually how the champions play, at least. And look at the amount of different builds we've been seeing here from ZEST as well, right? It is like almost every single game we're seeing different things from both these players. It's a lot of fun to kind of see it all mixed up together, but so far ZEST is kind of outplaying BYUN in most of these departments. Oh boy. BYUN's losing a lot due to these Phoenixes. Look at that. Look at that efficiency right there on that unit's loss tab. A single Oracle for 10 Marines, a Hellion, a Medevac, and an SCV. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Pretty darn impressive if you ask me. BYUN trying to set up some sort of a force here. He's going to go for the triple Rex with the starport and a factory. The factory will be having a reactor, so we're going into the Widow Mines once again here. And one game that did go BYUN's favor was by the help of the siege tanks, but and ZEST just has all the map presence everywhere. At least we only have the one SCV kill, right? So, at least BYUN has that still going for him. But with the army that he's already lost due to the Phoenixes, I don't think he's going to be able to do a good push to secure his 3rd base. Ooh, there we are. Nice little Widow Mine, and the Marines do get there in time, kind of shooing away those Phoenix. Charge and the Templar Archives coming in. ZEST should be getting ready once again to hold this push quite decisively, quite successfully, I would say. 2 Widow Mines here, 2 Widow Mines! Only one of them gets the connection. Vengeance from the Phoenix. Coming in shift to get rid of one of those Widow Mines. Not the one that killed their friend, but you know what, the other one. A friend for a friend, an eye for an eye, and a Widow Mine for a Phoenix. Moving on forwards. This could be the moment. Will BYUN make this work? His army supply is not all that impressive, but the auto turrets at the forefront. Let's see if they will be enough. Zealots coming in from behind. It took them a while to get there, but will it be enough still? Yeah, I think it will be. Very rough for BYUN. I mean, he's taking out a lot of the Zealots here with him. But I think he wanted to do more with this push. The army composition of ZEST already, I mean, if this was more so Starkers and he took out a bunch of Starkers, I would be happier with that. But the Zealots, I mean, the army of ZEST is okay maintaining a Zealot composition with this. He will just be able to spend his gas on those High Templar instead. So yeah, he's not that hard pressed by losing that amount of Zealots here. Especially considering he took out most of the Marines and Marauders as well. Third base for BYUN gets pushed backwards onto the high ground. Will not be able to set up anytime soon here. And yeah, BYUN tries to claim some sort of a position here. Does not want those Widowmines set up for nothing, and then they get picked up. And then the other two get set up for nothing. Things are going from bad to worse for BYUN here, and meanwhile, ZEST mining just a ton more. Even then, he knows it doesn't matter that much anymore. He is coming in for the kill. 20 army supply stronger than his opponent right now. Has the force fields on the ramp into the main base, so the production facilities, they are in shambles. Nothing coming in to save them here any longer. And up he comes the ramp, and that is the go sign for absolutely everything. Going in at once. A lot of SCVs are going to go down here, guys, and I think that is going to be it. We are going to have a victor here. ZEST steam rolling. Absolutely unstoppable here. At the first two games, you're like, alright, we're going up equal, and then ZEST just turns it up to 11.